Hello, guys. Welcome back, and today we're going to be talking about another episode of Azure Lane Fallen Lord. So, yeah, let us begin, shall we? And also, in the background, I'm also watching Azure Lane, the anime, so just ignore that. It's mostly just for inspiration. Anyway, let's continue on with this episode, shall we, ladies and gents? So, we would currently be in the perspective of two women. Actually, technically, it's not just the two women. In fact, it seems to be entire battalion, or should I say, entire the platoon of warships. As in front of them were two fox women on top of a large ship, or should I say, two large ships. As one of them would say, "Hey, sister, do you know what is the meaning of battle?" As after hearing that, the woman went right beside her, which you would notice that she would have white hair and what seemed to be fox ears and nine tails. Yes, sister. As she would look at her sister, as she would say, I believe that battle is an exchanging of love. We fight for love. We fight for what we believe is love. And that is why battle is an exchanging of love. Don't you think, sister? She would say, as the woman would be revealed to be somewhat the same as the first woman, except her fur is more dark brownish. And with a red color scheme, unlike her quote unquote sister, which has a blue color scheme. As after saying these words, the sister would say, yes, but unfortunately we're still on the seas, she would say, as they're currently in the middle of the ocean. As they're currently right beside them was a few other members. One of them seems to be. We would also see a woman that is riding upon a large aircraft carrier. As she seems to be wielding a katana, as she would say this. So, it seems that we're going to attack the naval base soon. Right, sister? She would say. Obviously getting ready to fight, sharpening her katana with a whetstone. I still hate how our seniors are still going to allow us to do this. Come on, I just want to lace around, she would say, as she would be playing her flute. After saying these words, the woman known as her sister, as she would say, Shaukaku. As after saying these words, she would say, oh, yeah. Oh, so. I still can't believe we're still going to do this shit. Anyway, she would say. I'll say I'm not going to put shit. What? It was an accident. Anyway. As the woman known as her sisters would say, Anyway, we're doing this because if we do this right, we'll be able to gain praise from our superiors, our seniors. As after hearing these words, she would say, really? That sounds great, she would say. Wait for a second. After saying these words, she would say, Actually, that actually sounds great. So if that's so, then I will try and do my best, sister. And she would say, very well, Shokaku. And you too, Zueikaku. As after saying these words, but before anything else happens, something would slowly start to go awry. As currently, slowly, a dark, almost malevolent fog would slowly start rolling in. As one of the ships would say, specifically that of a small, I think it was called destroyer, would say a small, not light cruiser, I meant destroyer. As the woman would be revealed to be a somewhat young girl, about 16? Or at least I think so. Especially when watching the anime, which To me, she looks like she's 16 or somewhere in that. Don't judge me for it. But, well, also looking at the picture, or at least the official like art for her in the game, or at least in the wiki, she looks more like she's maybe 8 or 5. Not 8, I meant 8 or 9, I meant. So yeah, I'm just gonna say that she's probably like, maybe like 14-ish, I guess. But either way, as she would notice the dark, almost malevolent fog nearby, as after feeling this dark presence, she would say, "What is this? This feels weird." As she would contact her superior, saying, uh, uh, um, as while stuttering, she would start feeling more of the fog envelop the area. Also, currently. Anyway, as it slowly starts enveloping the entire area, the first carrier division, which are led by both the woman in white and the woman in dark red, or red in general. But anyway, as sensing this, she would say, "What is happening?" She would say, as she would look at the area, seeing as it slowly changed, or at least kind of. Slowly, the water would start looking like it's polluted, like it's been turned into nothing more than like sewage. As when noticing this, the woman known as Kaga would say, she would say, "What is happening?" As when noticing this, she would say, or specifically the woman right beside her would say, "Yeah." As she would notice something also. She would look at something and would grab it. What what seems to be some sort of black mental cube, as it seems to be violently shaking, like it's almost, I guess you could say, afraid or malfunctioning in this area. As when doing so, she would say, "I should probably use this now," she would say. As after saying these words, the woman in red, as the woman in white would look at her as she would say, "Wait, Amagi, what are you doing?" As she would say, "Sister, this feels terrifying. We should use this immediately, in case of some sort of..." But before they can say anything else, they would notice in front of them, as they would see a massive, what seems to be an entire island. In fact, actually, they would notice something. Large masses, almost resembling that of old world ships. Something during the age of piracy. In fact, a large flag would be put on top of the ship. As on top of the ship was some sort of symbol. It seems to be a symbol of a dragon burning down a castle with some sort of red signature being wielded by the dragon. In the back of the dragon seems to be another insignia. What seems to be an elaborate, almost beautiful looking design of a flame. As they would also notice something about this. It seems to be, as one of the ships there, specifically known as Zuikaku, would say, Zuikaku, would say, "What is that?" she would say, as they would notice several mass-produced siren ships beside them, as they would say, "It seems like a battle is starting," she would say, as she would activate her riggings, as her ship would slowly start disappearing, turning into mental cubes, forming into what we see now. And apparently the ship entirely is just turned into a sheath. Actually, no, never mind. It doesn't look like a sheath. Actually, thinking about it, even watching this, I feel more confused on what the heck the riggings are for exactly. I mean, some of them have guns, but some are just turned into freaking accessories at this point. So I don't really know the functional use of them at all. Or at least, kind of. Anyway, continuing on. As the woman known as her sister, known as Shoukaku, would say, so, a battle has begun, she would say, as she would go up into the sky as her riggings would activate, as she would summon a few, what seemed to be almost ethereal, I guess you could say, planes, as slowly they would see something happening to that island, or at least that's what they think it was an island. Slowly, the island would slowly start opening up its gates. And if you're wondering, no, it's not going to be a large ass mouth. No, instead, it's going to be more like, I guess you could say, more like a traditional castle, like, thing. Or, a traditional castle gate. As it slowly opens up, revealing what seemed to be something out of this world. In fact, they look like monsters. As the woman, or at least the little girl would say, wait, no. Wait, those are from the report, she would say. As she would remember the report from last time, specifically about Ironblood's problem with what seemed to be a ghost ship, which they titled as, and I quote, the Red Baron. Or what they call as the Dark Island Gehenna, as they called it. Or at least that's what or at least one of their other allies said. Or at least one of their allies decided to name. As, while saying these words, she would say this to herself. So, that's the island that caused so much death. I should get ready, she would say. Activating her riggings, they would form into a sword, and I guess you could say skirt mounted, or, the missile mounted skirt, I guess you could say, as when getting ready, she would notice the island started opening up the almost medieval style gates, and revealing what seemed to be monsters. As several of the siren ships would get ready to attack, the monsters would be revealed. As several creatures that resemble that of multiple different types of animal stitched together, some of them with wings, some with not, wielding swords or spears, as they would charge in at full speed towards the siren ships, only looking at them as they would rush in, slamming themselves into the ships and started slicing, though it doesn't seem to work. Some of these ships would start firing, most of them easily getting destroyed. But, to say the least, there's still many of them, like a red tide, almost enveloping the ocean. As while seeing this, some of the members of what is known as as one of them specifically, that as Wikaku would say, what is going on? Why do they seem to be attacking only the siren ships? She would be confused, seeing that only these whatever these things are only seem to be attacking what seem to be the ships only, or the mass-produced siren ships only. As while noticing this, one of them would say, specifically that of Kaga would say, alright, she would say, everybody, do not engage, just let them watch. As after saying these words, everybody would be confused. As while hearing this, one of them would say, makes sense. Though, I'm still weirded out how they're only attacking them only. Said a somewhat confused Shaokaku. As while saying this, they would also see something in the distance, flying up above. As when noticing this, they would say, no way! They would say, all confused and terrified. As above them, they would see dragons. As one of them, specifically that of, as Kaga would see this, she would say, everybody get ready, she would say. as all of them would start getting ready to attack, as the dragons would seem to rush towards them. And so we will end off this episode right off here. So yeah, bye bye.